to be here. It's our first webinar and it's our trial, so you guys are the guinea pigs, and it's great to be able to connect with you guys. I've done a lot of workshops here in my city and presentations. We haven't done webinars before, so it's I'm not used to not seeing my audience, but I'm looking forward to having a good discussion today. So today we're going to talk about getting past survival, and we're focusing in on the early stage, starting your business. And we're going to look at 12 rules for startup success. Today's part 1, so we're going to look at the first 6 rules. I just wanted to go over a quick couple ground rules. So about me, for those of you who don't know me, I help entrepreneurs. My goal is to help 1 billion entrepreneurs. When I was 19, I had a biotech software company. We built it up, sold it. And then when I was 22, I joined the VC venture capitalists. We're raising $500,000 to $50 million for companies. There's a bunch of miscellaneous stats on me now. My main business is evancarmichael.com, and our goal is to help 1 billion entrepreneurs. And 30, how old am I now? 32? 32. So I always have to think of what year it is. So a little bit about me, for those of you who aren't as familiar. So the biggest thing for a lot of entrepreneurs when they're first starting up is getting past the survival stage. And you may have huge visions of where you want to go and the world you want to change, and that's awesome. Step 1 is you got to get to survival. If you're not able to put enough money on the table to feed yourselves and pay for your rent and everything else, then you're not going to be able to have that big vision for your business. So this part is really focusing on how can we get to that survival point so you're making enough money to quit your job and start having the life that you want, and then you're able to make it big and hopefully change the world. A quick note on questions. Ideally we're going to have a question and answer section at the end, but if there's a really important question that you have, feel free to ask it, and Carl, who's monitoring the questions, may interrupt and ask that question. If it really pertains to the topic we're talking about on the slide, then feel free to ask it, but we're also going to have a section at the end. So we're going to get to the incubator question, and if you have other ones, let me know too. And one last thing on prizes. We're going to do some prizes here. We're going to have one prize. It's going to be a 30-minute call with me to ask any question, talk about your business, and we're also going to give away some packs of the Famous Entrepreneur trading cards that I created, and that's going to be awarded by questions, and it's going to be a random question. So make sure you're asking those questions. We're going to pick one winner at random for the call and a couple for the cards. And Carl will figure that out at the end of the call. So here we go, the first 6 rules. So a quick overview of what we're going to talk about today. Number 1, follow your passion. Number 2, work to learn. Number 3, start part-time. Number 4, build around a customer. Number 5, income depends on the value you provide. And number 6 is model success. And if you stick around all the way to the end, I'm also going to include a sample mentoring script. I know that's something that a lot of people are worried about and thinking about. How do I get a mentor to help me with my business? And so I'm going to show you how you can do it and give you an actual script that you can use and copy and paste if you're going to start emailing some potential mentors. So I hope you're excited. I'm excited, and let's kick this thing off. So first rule, and by far the most important rule, at least in my opinion, when you're starting a business, is you have to do something that you're super, super passionate about. Too many entrepreneurs start a business just because they're trying to make money, and that's almost always the wrong way to do it. You'll often find that people who are just trying to make money rarely end up making money, as strange as that sounds. And if you look at the most successful entrepreneurs in the world, and you can do your own research, we've done a lot on our site, you'll find that they started a business because they had a really strong passion for doing something. They wanted to change the way that things were done. And they would do it even if they weren't making money from it. If they couldn't turn it into a full-time business, they would still do it. And those are the ones who go on to become hugely successful entrepreneurs. And so I want to encourage you, if you're at the point where you're thinking about what business you want to start, to really focus in on something that you're passionate about, because it's going to be tough. Entrepreneurship is sexy and everybody wants to do it and be your own boss and work your own hours, but it's really hard. And every entrepreneur will go to the point where they think about quitting and going back and getting the job because it's just too hard. And if you're not really passionate about it, you're going to give up. And so if you're just chasing the dollars, it's probably not going to happen. First sign of failure, you're going to give up and go chase something else. Where if you are going after something you're really passionate about and really fuels you, you'll get that energy to push through all the hurdles that are going to come at you. And it's also a lot more fun. Like when you're helping people and you do something that excites you, it's way more fun and way more profitable than just going out and trying to make a buck. So I really want you guys to think about how you can connect to your passion and be able to build a business around it. And I'm going to go through a quick exercise of how to help you identify what your passion is and then be able to build a business from it. So I just did a quick Google search yesterday, and I put in how many people hate, and the top results coming back were their jobs, their life, their boss, and their mother. I don't think I can help you much with your mother if that's a challenge, but your job, your life, your boss is probably something that can help if you're going to be an entrepreneur. And so a lot of people hate what they're doing, and that's what forces people to start their own business, because they don't like their current environment. And so I want to encourage you to do it and kind of give you some of the steps to help you through that process. So a couple quotes from famous entrepreneurs. If you don't believe me, then hopefully these guys will help convince you as well. And when I was getting started, I found that this was really helpful to be able to look at famous entrepreneurs and see how they were successful, and that gave me the inspiration and motivation to keep going when things got really tough. And that's one of the main motivations that I started my website. So this is from Dana White, who's the president of UFC. Writes, 90% of America gets up in the morning and drives to a job they hate. That's true, and as an entrepreneur, you get the chance to be able to create your own destiny, create your own work life, and choose projects to work on that excite you. So hopefully, if you're an entrepreneur, you're not going to a job that you hate. You're creating your own life and something that you really have a passion for doing. Pierre Omidyar, founder of eBay, wrote in saying, pursue your passion. If you're passionate about something and you work hard, you will be successful. So again, talk about that passion, making sure you're following it, and use that to be able to fuel your business growth. And one more, Dov Charney, founder of American Apparel. Passion, that's it. When you believe in what you're doing, that's it. And again, if you look at any famous entrepreneur, their success story, go back to the beginning. Nobody will say, I did this because I wanted to make a lot of money. I did it because I really loved what I was doing, and I wanted to have an impact on the world or impact on my market. And as a result, it became really successful. You have to make money, right? You have to make money if you're in business, but it's not the main goal. Your main goal is a greater purpose and being able to create something that you're really proud of what you've done. So, quick exercise on how to find your passion. I get a lot of questions on it. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but because I get so many questions, I thought it'd be helpful to go through a quick exercise. If you're not sure what you're passionate about or what business to start, what I recommend doing is write down a list of 10 things that make you happy. Don't worry about it being a business opportunity yet, just things that you get a natural high off doing, you really enjoy, super fun and exciting for you. And then think about how much do you love it, rank it out of 10, and how much does it help others. So that's the value. So I want you to write down here 1 to 10, your activities, how much do you love it out of 10, and then how much value does it give to other people. So the more that you're able to help other people, the more you're going to make it into a business and become successful. Then you add it up. So this last column is going to be your total score, and it's going to be out of 20. So again, you don't have to worry about it being a business opportunity yet. Just start around what you're really excited about and passionate about, what makes you happy, what helps others, and generate that list. And this is your starting point. The next thing I would do here is write down another list of up to 10 of what you wish you could do. So, if the world were limitless, which it pretty much is, what do you wish you could do? Ideally, in an ideal world, you may not have too much experience in it, but you really have a strong passion to learn about something. What type of opportunity could you create? And then do it again for what kinds of frustrations have you solved. A lot of the best businesses in the world have been created by entrepreneurs who had their own personal challenge or frustration. They wish something could be different, and then they created a solution to it. Well, if you're having that problem, chances are other people are having that problem too, and that's how you could start a business. So ideally, you have a list of maximum of 30 ideas of things that you like, things that you wish you could do, and frustrations that you've solved, and you've ranked them all by how much you love doing those activities, and then how much value you think it provides to other people. What I want you to then do is think about the ones that score higher than 16 and circle them. And those are going to be our starting point for business opportunities to be able to build around what we're really passionate about. Next quick thing is test your commitment. So you write down all the ideas that you've really got that 16 or higher, so the ones that you're excited about. Then I want you to go commit to doing some research on it. Commit to understanding the lifestyle that goes with running that type of business. And you want to do at least half an hour research on the internet and at least one trip to the library or bookstore. And this sheet here is just saying that you have to commit to it. You do a quick check mark for each one, check, I commit to doing it, and then you check when it's done. And this is important. And I want you to go and actually go to a store or a library to research and not just do it online. It's important because you're building momentum for your idea. So you're taking that time out of your day to go to the bookstore and do a little bit of research on that business opportunity and what the lifestyle would be like, and see if it's something that still is appealing. It may sound interesting in our head, but until you go and actually learn about it, it may not be as exciting anymore. So you want to actually go and do that. If you can't follow through in that commitment, then you're probably not going to be a great entrepreneur in that industry. Right? If you wrote down some great ideas, but you're not willing to go up to the library and read a book, then you're probably not going to have the commitment to be able to launch a successful company out of it. So the internet research is a little bit easier. Library requires a little bit more commitment, but I encourage you to go out and do it. And then the ones that you actually have gone and done, you move those to the final list as potential opportunities to start a business off of. The last list here is you test your commitment. And what you'll find is, as you do research on different ideas, some of them are going to be ones that really speak to you, that are really exciting, and that you kind of get lost in. And I found this was for me with Famous Entrepreneurs. So my website is really based around famous entrepreneur stories. That's how I started it. And I found that when I was starting my business, I could consume so many famous entrepreneur stories. I loved hearing about their success. It motivated me. It gave me ideas to grow my business. And it just consumed me. So the idea of only spending half an hour on internet research was ridiculous. So I spent hours and hours and hours and hours doing it. So I found that to be extremely motivating for me. So you want to look at how much time you actually spent doing all of those. How much time did you spend online researching each idea? How much time did you spend at the library or the bookstore? And add all that up. And then you're going to end up seeing that some of the ideas, you just did the bare minimum. Right? You just did it because I told you to do it or because you thought it was an interesting idea, but you didn't actually go and try and do a lot more and go way above expectations. And you'll find that there'll be a big separation on this list. Some of them you're going to spend a lot of time doing, and some of them you won't. Now, think as an entrepreneur, if you're just doing the bare minimum, you're probably not going to have a lot of success. Right? Entrepreneurship is fun and awesome and very rewarding, but it's also a lot of hard work. And so you can't just do the bare minimum. You have to be able to invest a lot of time into it. So I would look at your top ideas and rank them by how much time you actually spent researching it. And if you see 1, 2, or 3 of them really above all the other ones, those are the areas that you want to focus on. So hopefully that helps walk you through how to identify your passion and then try to figure out what business opportunity you might be most interested in and be able to build around. I'll answer questions again as they come over at the end if you have more, because I know a lot of people are struggling with that, how to find a passion. The next thing is work to learn. So startup rule number 2, before you start your business, I'd go try to get some actual experience in the field that you're interested in. So, if you want to be an internet marketer, go work with somebody who does internet marketing. If you want to be a carpenter, go work with somebody who is a carpenter. Right now, if you haven't started your business yet, you're in a job, hopefully. So why not work in something that you can learn about so you can become a better entrepreneur at some point in the future? So you're going to be working anyway, you might as well work to be able to gain experience for starting your own business. As you're doing it, I wouldn't worry so much about the money. Yes, you need to make some money to be able to support yourself and pay all your bills, but the more important thing here is the experience. You want to try to take on as many projects as you can. Try to get a job where you can work with the CEO or the entrepreneur themselves so that you can learn directly what they're going through. If you're a web designer and you want to start your own web design company, if you're already working at a web design company, try not to just do the web design, because an entrepreneur is more than just being one specific task. Try to work with the entrepreneur and offer to take on more responsibilities and get more involved. You'll be able to learn way more about how to start a company by getting that hands-on experience. Now, if you already have a job and you don't want to leave it to try something new, you have some security. I know it can be tough if you've already been working somewhere for 10 years. It's hard to leave it and take an internship job somewhere else. Do it part-time. Weekends, evenings, find a company that you can work for at a whatever rate. Doesn't matter. You want the experience. And the thing here is it's like you're going to university. You're going to Entrepreneur University, and you're actually getting paid to do it, right? You're not having to pay for the opportunity to learn. They're paying you a salary, right? Since you're helping them, even if it's only evenings or weekends, you're getting paid to learn, and take on as many projects as you can, and then you'll be able to have a lot more success in knowing if this is right for you. Right? You may start this thing, get a part-time job with this company and realize, you know what, I do not want to be a web designer. I do not want to be a carpenter or whatever it is. And that's great because you've learned on somebody else's dime. You haven't gone in and spent thousands of dollars or whatever it is and quit your job to start this business and then realize that it wasn't for you. So you want to be able to get that hands-on experience to figure out if it's for you or not, and then also build up some contacts and build up some experience so that when you do go out and launch a business, you're really ready to go and do it. So that's work to learn. A quick quote from Robert Kiyosaki, who's the Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Work to learn, don't work for money. Look for jobs that can help you develop the skills, systems, and people rather than just pay you well. And I know money's important. You're going to make money. You're going to make money as an entrepreneur. That's the payday. That's the bigger payday down the road. Right now, you got to get your experience if you haven't actually started a business before. And another quick quote from Ben Franklin. If a man empties his purse into his head, no man can take it away from him. An investment in knowledge always pays the best interest. Moving on. So startup rule number 3, start part-time. This is really important as well. A lot of people think to start a business they have to quit their job and jump in full-time, and I think you can start it on a part-time basis very easily. So if you already have your full-time job and hopefully it's in your industry, if it's not, you're doing something else to learn, but then start your business on the side and commit time to it every day, even if it's half an hour a day, 15 minutes a day. Find a chunk of time every day to do something to move your business forward. It's a lot less risk, so you already have your income coming in from your job, and now here's an opportunity to make a little bit more. You can figure out at what point you want to leave your job to focus on your business. A lot of people say, once I'm making the same income from my business as I am from my job, then I'm going to quit. Or if I'm making 50%, then I'm going to quit. A quick example from my wife, she right now runs the largest salsa dance school, teaching people how to salsa dance in maybe North year how to do it, and she started doing it as a part-time hobby. She was working at the Marriott and had a really great was salsa dancing and just fell in love with it. And she took the opportunity to start her own business and thought, maybe I'm going to earn half of what I was doing at the Marriott, but that's okay because I'm doing something I'm really passionate about. So that opportunity turned into a huge business for her, and she now has 10 instructors and 50 people who help her and built a huge business as a result of it. So start part-time. You're much more likely to keep it going if you're still earning some kind of money coming in, but you have to make sure that you're doing something every day to make sure that business is growing. So a quick quote from Alan Sugar, who's from Britain, and he's on the Apprentice version in Britain. Start small, start with your own money. You don't need to go out and raise a ton of venture capital. You don't need to go out and get millions on board before you start your business. Start really small and start part-time, and just make sure
Hey, Evan?
in the right business. Go back to step 1 and do something that you're passionate about. You should come home if you're working now and say, oh, I can't wait to go and spend time working on my business. Carl?
Yep. We lost your audio there for a little bit.
I don't know if there's a connection.
And
can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. It went a little fuzzy.
Can you hear?
Just for a little bit.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, now it's
okay.
Yep. Looks like we're good.
Good now?
And Shireen was saying, go a little slower. I guess maybe she's taking notes, but she thinks you might be going a tad fast. So.
Okay. All right. I'm excited, but we'll slow it down a little bit.
It's hard to pace it because it's when you can't see anybody, you can't see their people's reactions. So,
yeah.
And also we are recording this, so hopefully we can get this up to you within a few days. But if you do miss anything, please, don't worry about it. We do have questions at the end, and we're recording this too. So, that's just to make sure that they know that. All right,
okay.
Back to you, Evan.
Great, thank you. Yeah, and thanks, Carl, for kind of keeping us on track there. So we're talking about starting small, starting part-time, making sure that you take steps every day to move that business forward is going to be supremely important. You're much more likely to keep with it if you know that you're making a little bit of money, and it's more important to spend time every day doing the business than to spend a month full-time on the business and then quit because you're not making enough money to support yourself. So you have to let time for momentum to build, and that's going to come from spending time every day to move that business forward. And again, it should be something that you are excited and passionate about. You should come home wanting to do it. If you're not excited about it and you feel like it's work and it's boring, especially at the beginning, like if you don't love it at the beginning, you're not going to love it. It's hard to grow into something like that. You got to really love it right from the start. As it goes on, it may take its toll on you, but you got to love it, especially at the beginning. And if you don't, then go back to the exercise number 1, figure out a different business. It's not that you may not be the right fit for an entrepreneur, you just may not have the right idea. You should want to come home and work on your business. All right, moving on. Another quick quote, John Johnson, creator of the Ebony magazines, the secret of a big success is starting small and dreaming bigger and bigger dreams. And this is important. A lot of entrepreneurs have a huge vision for what they want to do, and that's great, and it's good to map out a lifestyle that you want. If you want to work 20 hours a week or live from an island or whatever it is that you want, that's great, but it's important to realize that that big dream starts with small steps and doing those small steps every day. So just because you're doing something small, it doesn't mean that you're not doing something important. Those small steps gather up, and if you take action every day, they become big, important steps. So start small and keep dreaming bigger and bigger dreams. Next thing is a quick launch plan. So if you are just starting your business, quick task is create something that you're going to do every day, and at least 15 minutes. I don't want to make it too onerous, and ideally you're able to spend a couple hours on some of these days, right? You won't get a lot done if you're only doing 15 minutes a day, but I want that to be a minimum. Like if you can't spend 15 minutes a day, especially in your first month launching your business, it's going to be hard to make that a success. So what helps, at least I found, is if you sit down and plan out a list of things that you're going to do every day. So day 1, I'm going to do this, 2, do this, and then you check it off as you get them done. And just by having those checks going, it gives you momentum. It feels like you're doing something, and you have a little bit of power behind you, some steam that's building up. So it's important. You don't want to make it, you don't want to miss a day. Really, if you do the first 10 days and it's going really well, you don't want to miss that day 11. You want to get that 11th thing in, and the 12th thing, and the 13th thing. So the tasks may vary depending on what business you're in, and we can get into some of the specifics later or with the questions. But I think it's really important to have something that you create, and you can either have it on your desktop or print it off or put it on the wall and mark off what you're going to do every day and slowly start checking them off as you get them done. And that'll start boosting your plan, and especially if you had a really hard day at work, it comes home and you can see what you've done and you're working towards this bigger dream. And so I found that to be really helpful to keep you on track and keep you working every day. Startup rule number 4, build around the customer. And this is another big mistake that a lot of entrepreneurs make. They think that they have a great idea, and so they start working in isolation of talking to the people who are going to end up buying whatever product or service that they have. And the best way to build a business is to start talking to your customers before you actually launch your company. You want to talk to the guys who are going to pay you, right? So talk to the people, find out what their challenges are, and build a solution around those challenges. And a quick example from my first company, and something what not to do, I hope you guys can learn from that. I had a biotech software company. I was 19 years old, and it was pretty complex stuff. Our software was being used by NASA and Johnson & Johnson, and was being used to try to find cures for cancer. And of all the features that are in that software, the most complicated one was the ability to do undo, redo in unlimited time. So if you make a mistake, you can undo and you can go back. In Word or Excel, you can go back, I don't know, maybe 20 steps. In our software, you can go back all the way to the beginning. And we thought, wow, this is so great. People are going to love this feature. It turns out nobody cared. And we spent all this time developing this feature that nobody cared about because we did it in isolation without talking to our customers. And so you really want to make sure you're talking to your potential clients before you start building your product or service. Now, luckily for us, we had enough in our software that people still wanted to buy it. It was still helpful and valuable for them. So we were still able to build a successful company. But we could have done a lot more if we didn't make those mistakes early on. So you guys are at a great opportunity now here if you're just starting your business or thinking about it. Before you start spending money, because anybody can spend money, right? It's not hard to spend money. If I gave you $1 million, you can go spend $1 million in a million different ways, I'm sure. But not everybody can make money. And the making money comes from helping your customers solve their challenges. So start talking to your customers. Start talking to people who are facing problems and offer a potential solution to them. I like starting with a service if you can over a product because there's very low cost to start it up, and it gets you really close to the customer. So as much as you can, build around their specific problems and pain points, and they will guide you and tell you what they want if you just listen to them and hopefully be able to really explode your business. So a couple of quick quotes. Ray Kroc is from McDonald's. If you work just for money, you'll never make it. But if you love what you're doing and you always put the customer first, success will be yours. So this also ties to that first point about passion. Again, if you're just doing it for the money, you're never going to make it, according to Ray Kroc. But it's important to love what you're doing. And the second part there is always put the customer first. So you're learning about your customer, figuring out what their problems are, and building an experience or a product or service specifically designed to help them solve whatever challenges that they're facing. Next one, Mark Cuban, owner of the Dallas Mavericks now and successful entrepreneur with Broadcast.com. It got acquired by Yahoo for billions of dollars. I just tried to learn the technology better than anyone else and find the best way to help my customers. So he was going in against big competitors, and this is an opportunity for any entrepreneur. What we don't have in money and resources, we have in the ability to be flexible and to service our customers. If you look at any big company, the service usually sucks, right? You call in and you're put on hold and you can't get through to somebody and they're really slow and the products or services are delayed, and nobody really has a lot of good things to say about most big companies. And that's where you as an entrepreneur have an opportunity. You can go up against these big guys by better listening to the customer and creating a solution that is exactly tailored to what they need, and then also providing awesome service. Right? If people can call up and talk to a person or email and get a response really quickly and know that somebody is there listening to them and helping them, then they're more likely to buy more, tell their friends, tell potential partners, spread the word. And that's your goal as an entrepreneur. The more you can get people to talk about you, it saves you a lot of time on sales and marketing, a lot of expenses as well. So as much as you can, know your business and then try to build a product or service that really tailors to your customers and the problems that they're facing. Rule number 5, your income depends on the value that you provide. Another really important one, at least in my opinion. The more you can help a client, the more money you're going to make, and they will pay a premium over existing suppliers if you can provide them with more value. And this is where a lot of entrepreneurs make the mistake where they just want to make a lot of money, but they're not actually helping their clients out that much. Right? If you look back to that very first startup rule that we created, it was how much do you love it, and then also how much does it help your potential customers. And so the more you're able to help them, the more value you can provide, the more likely you're going to be able to make a lot more money, which is probably an important goal for a lot of you who are listening here on the call today. So that's important. A quick example from my experience, and a recent one, I was asked to create a blog post for some of my corporate clients. And they came to me and said, we'd like you to write for our blog. And I said, sure. And they said, we'll pay you $500 to do it. I said, okay, let's do it. And I started doing that. I thought, great, why not? I can get a link back from my site. And I didn't just write the bare minimum. And this is important. So I was going up against maybe 10 other people who they had also hired. I was one of 10 bloggers, and they thought, okay, well, they're all the same. They're all bloggers. Throw some content and hope it works. the important thing that I did was try to add a lot more value. So as an example, they said we need 300 to 500 words. I wrote 1,500 words, 2,000 words. I wrote way more than they expected. I added a video. Nobody else added a video. And then I promoted the content. So I sent it to my newsletters, I sent it to my Twitter, I sent it to my Facebook, YouTube, and I'm sure a lot of you listening have read some of that content, and hopefully you liked it. So those famous entrepreneur profiles. And we had all this momentum building up, and if you compare the articles that we write compared to the articles that other bloggers write, we're blowing them away. It's like 10 times the amount of page views, 100 times the amount of comments. It's really crazy how much better our content does compared to everybody else. So when it came time to renewing a contract and figuring, okay, where do we go next year? Of course, they want to come to us. And we also increased our prices. So now it's 5 times that to be able to hire us to create content for their site. All the content that we create is always value add. It's never, you need to go buy American Express products or whatever it is. It's all value add. But we were able to increase our pricing in a pretty competitive world by a huge factor, and it's because we provided so much extra value to our clients. And they didn't even know they needed that value. They just came and said, we want a blog post. So I said, okay. And then we started going way above and beyond what they expected. So there's an opportunity for you as an entrepreneur. If you can get a client, especially a corporate client to start, I love going after corporate clients because they can be a bigger price ticket for you. They can spend more with you, and if you become an important part of their business, they're going to keep bringing you back. So it's a great way to get introduced and start building up that business. But if you can do it and then slowly start expanding how much work you do with them. So you start on a small scale and you over deliver like crazy. So you offer a tiny little project, something that's meaningless for them, but for you is important. And even if you don't make a lot of money on your first project, you over-deliver like crazy. You be the supplier that they've never seen before, and they love working with you. You're so responsive, and you're really doing a lot of work that nobody else is doing. Then there's going to be other opportunities to work with them and earn more dollars and get more referrals and do repeat projects. So that's really your way in as an entrepreneur. It's how you go up against the big guys. You provide amazing service and keep thinking of ways that you can provide value to your customers beyond what everybody else is doing. So a lot of that comes from talking to your customers and understanding your market. So if you're getting into something new that you have maybe passion for but don't really know much about, that's why it's important to go and do those things like get a job, even on a part-time basis, so you understand the industry and you're able to figure out other ways you can add value. Try to add value on things that are service-related as much as possible, or things that have high perceived value but don't actually cost you a lot of money. So a quick example, from my business, every quarter, we'll pull together some research on entrepreneurs, just based on my own website and my own list of people that are asking questions, really common questions that are being asked, and kind of the trends that are happening in the world of entrepreneurship. And we use that to help create our content schedule going forward. So if everybody's asking about starting up, we'll create webinars on starting up, and we'll create more entrepreneur profiles on starting up. If people are asking about marketing, we'll create more marketing content. So we're doing this anyway for our business. What I started doing is working with our corporate partners, and I go and I do a free presentation to them on our findings. So this is stuff that I'm already doing. It doesn't take me a lot of time to put together. Maybe make the slides look a little nicer than what we would do for our own internal purposes, but I'm not spending a lot of extra time doing it, but it's huge value to my clients. Nobody else is doing this for them, and they're getting a lot of industry knowledge that can help them plan their schedules as well. So again, just going way above and beyond, and anytime somebody wants to work on a small business entrepreneurship project, they're going to come and talk to us because we're providing all this extra value. So same thing for you. Think of other ways, even if it doesn't cost you a lot of time or money, it will seem as being really important and valuable to your clients. Those are some of the best ways to be able to go out and do it because, again, it doesn't cost you too many resources. So your income will definitely depend on how much value you provide, and you want to keep striving as much as you can to provide tons of value to them. Moving on, so again, Pierre Midyar, I want people to be entrepreneurs because they think they've got something of value to give to the world, not because they can think a lot of money. And again, this is where it's going to be really important. Provide the value, not just go after the money. One more from Dave Thomas, founder of Wendy's. The more you give, the more you get in return. And it's true. Keep giving to your clients, and they're going to keep coming back, ordering more, telling more friends. Referred clients will buy more, ask less questions, will be more loyal, they'll tell more people, and it's a great way to build your business without having to spend a lot of money on official, formal marketing. And the last rule of our 6 is to model success. And this is one of my favorite tips, and I think it's an awesome way for entrepreneurs to shortcut their path to success, is if you want to achieve anything with your business, even with your life, the best way that I found is look at somebody who's already doing it and try to learn from their success. They can help show you the way. And when I had my first software company, I was 19 years old, didn't know anything about how to build a business, and was a little scared and thought, you know what, I'm not the first guy to try to sell software before. So we researched companies like Microsoft and McAfee and Intuit and looked at how do they get started. I don't care how Bill Gates makes an extra $1 million now, but how do you go from that idea to making his first $1 million? That's what I want to learn. This is what I want to be able to copy. And we copied those success strategies and put them into place in our software business. And we were able to explode our growth and get customers in 30 countries and get some brand name customers and eventually get acquired, and we sold our business. And so it's an amazing way, and this is what we try to share with our ongoing posts, the Famous Entrepreneur Profiles. Look at people who you respect, and it doesn't have to be somebody you know. For me, it wasn't people that I personally knew, but I still considered somebody like Bill Gates to be my mentor because I was able to learn a lot from his success. So when you're looking at mentors, you can look at people who you do know, who are actually people who you can get some contact with, but also what I call aspirational mentors, who are people who you look up to, who you never even need to meet them to be able to learn from their success and copy it and put it into your own business as well. So a quick quote from Kiyosaki: your mentors in life are important, so choose them wisely. I couldn't agree more, and I think when you're looking at mentors, again, you want to find the aspirational ones, or people you look up to but don't know, but then also try to connect with real people. So people who are in your city, you may not know them, but you want to reach out to them and learn from their success. So this is something that I promised you guys right at the beginning, the sample mentoring script. And this is something that I would use if I wanted to get to know somebody who was, close to me that I can go pay a visit to, but I didn't know them. Somebody I've researched and was excited to meet, but I didn't actually know them. So, dear Mr. or Mrs., whoever my name is, your name, and I've always wanted to become an internet marketer. I've always wanted to become a carpenter or a retail store owner, whatever it is. I've finally taken the steps to get started and kept coming across your name everywhere I researched. I have a great respect for what you do and would love to pick your brain and ask you a few questions. It took me a while to muster up the courage to write to you, and I hope you'll consider it. Even if it's just talking to you while you're walking to an appointment or to your car, name the time and the place, and I'll be there with a coffee treat in hand. Thank you so much for the opportunity. You have no idea how much this means to me. If there's anything you can think of that I can do for you as well, please let me know. Sincerely, your name. This is really hard to say no to. It's important when you're trying to get in on a mentoring relationship that you don't go in starting asking, will you be my mentor? Right? If they've never heard of you, a mentoring relationship is an ongoing, time-consuming thing. So I get emails, will you be my mentor? It's hard for me to say, yes, I will be your mentor, because I don't know anything about you. So when you're approaching people, you want to make it really easy for them to say yes. Make it just a tiny, little tiny time commitment on their part so they're not really investing too much. And then you can take it from there, right? This is a letter that's hard to say no to. They'll probably say yes to a coffee or a quick phone call. And if they see your passion and your enthusiasm and they like you, you can end with something like, if I have any other questions, would you mind if I sent you an email or called you? And almost always they'll say yes. People want to help people. If you look at any successful entrepreneur, you'll see that they had people who helped them get to where they are. And so they like being able to give back. But they only want to do it to somebody who they think will actually take their advice and use it. It's such a great feeling when you've helped somebody and you see that they took what you said and put it to practice and had success. But it's a bad feeling when you go to somebody and you give them advice and they don't do anything with it. That's not a great feeling. You feel like you wasted your time. And so that's the risk for a lot of mentors. They don't want to waste their time, but they do want to help people who are genuinely interested in becoming a success and copying what they've done. So I would try to find people local who you admire, who you want to learn from, and offer to take them out to coffee and use this sample script as a way to get you started. If you do use it and you have success, email me because I want to hear about it. And then some sample questions. So you want to think about what you're going to ask when you do find you get that meeting. You know, why did you start your business? How did you get your first customer? What's a typical day in your life like? These are just some examples. You can obviously add more specific ones to your business. What do you love most about your business? What do you hate most? Biggest mistake you ever made? Do you have any advice for someone like me who's just starting up? So these are general ones that can apply to any business, regardless of you know what industry you're in. And then I always try to add something at the end about, is there absolutely anything that I can help you with? And for the most part, they may say no, but they could be flattered that you asked, right? You may not be able to help your mentor or your mentee out too much, but you still want to offer. A quick example from my own story. When I was getting started, I was mentored by an older gentleman, and he was not very technology savvy. He didn't really know anything about technology. He used, you know, fax machines and didn't have an email account. And so he gave me a lot of great advice, and what I did was I just set up quick, simple Google News alerts for his company name and for his industry, and I kept getting ongoing research about what people were saying about him, and I would fax that to him. And he was really appreciative that somebody took the time to keep him up to date with what was being said. So if you have an advantage that you can use somehow, and usually there is a big age gap between a mentee and a mentor, so there may be something that you can use there to be able to benefit them, even if they can't think of what you can do. So you always want to look at different ways to do it. Now, if they are on a quick hack, if they are on social media, one of the things that I've done is I'll have my assistant go, and if I know I'm meeting somebody, I'll have them check out their Twitter account and Facebook page and YouTube channel if they have it, and I try to find something that they're interested in. So if they say they really like the coffee shop, the local coffee shop, then before I meet them, I'll pick up some treats from the local coffee shop. It's just a great way to start off the relationship. That's a bonus if they are on Twitter and they do talk about that kind of stuff. So those are just some sample questions. Again, you can come up with your own, but it's a great starting point. You want to keep it short, and hopefully, if they see that you have the genuine enthusiasm and desire to learn more about the business, then they'll be happy to answer those questions and also give you further, help as you go on. So they may not be your mentor, formal mentor relationship right from the beginning, and that's something that's really hard to ask for. So make it simple, stupid easy for them, so that they can say yes, and you start off the relationship. So that was my my big speech. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and I'm ready to answer some questions if you guys have them.
All right, I unmuted myself. Alyssa was talking about the concept of starting a small business. You have to start somewhere, but said, what about the bigger picture and where you want to end up? How do you do things to make sure that you get there and not get distracted?
Yeah, and I think with your end goal, it's important to have not to restrict yourself too much. So for me, for example, with my business, it's to help 1 billion entrepreneurs, and we've had over 14 million people check out our site, and it's to get to 1 billion. And that's something that fuels me. But there's a lot of different ways to go about doing it. And so whatever your ultimate end goal is, it's awesome to have a really big picture for what you want to accomplish with your company. I think that can help fuel you in the tough times, and when motivation might be low, that can help keep you going. But it doesn't have to be, you don't want to limit yourself too much. There's a lot of different ways to go out and accomplish it. So one thing to think about is, as you're doing tasks, think, does this contribute to my big vision? And it is super easy to get distracted. Entrepreneurs are like arsonists. They like setting little fires everywhere, but they don't actually follow through, typically. So you want to be the one who does follow through. And it comes from really having that intention, passion for it. So if you don't like it, you're going to go and start something else. And then that's not exciting anymore. You're going to start something else. So with every important business decision that you make, you want to ask yourself, will this help me get closer to my end goal? And if it's too far away from what you want to get done in the bigger picture, then you don't do it, and you look at other opportunities, because there's going to be tons of opportunities that will come towards you as you grow your business.
Cool. I just lost it because the questions are flying in. While we have a low budget to start, this is from Shireen. How do you manage marketing expenses and building a team of the right people to assist in business? And it's tough to do that when you have that small budget. So, what recommendations do you have?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I'm a big believer in bootstrapping a business. Even though I was in the venture capital industry for a while, I still prefer to bootstrap if you can. For hiring people on, my recommendation is, again, to start small and start part-time. The first guy I hired for 1 hour a day. That was it. He did an hour a day. He did things that were better than me. He did some database work that I was doing, and he saved an hour and a half of my time every day that I could use to build my business. So I didn't have to go out and hire somebody full-time. I can hire somebody on part-time basis, 1 hour a day, and then as my business grew, I was able to go out and hire more people. One of my favorite tools is a website called Odesk. It's odesk.com, and this is a great way to get people to work remotely for you if you don't need somebody to be physically in your city or in your office. And you can hire people who are website designers, marketing people, administrative people. You can hire somebody in the United States, you can hire somebody overseas, and there's obviously a price difference there, but also a skills and language difference you have to get used to. But these are people who are used to working on a part-time basis, and it's a great service that I recommend. I have no official interest with the company, but I do love it to help me to build my business. For the marketing side, to do it on the cheap, my favorite way to do marketing as you're growing is to use your existing customer base. So if you're really providing them, the wow through the service, and they love what you're doing, they're going to go out and tell their friends. They're going to come out and buy from you more often. And using simple free tools like Twitter, like Facebook, like YouTube, try to connect with your audience and build a following without spending marketing dollars. We don't really spend here at our company any marketing dollars. It's all through the service and then through the social media and online free tools. So it's definitely possible, and when you do crack that nut, it's very not only enjoyable but also profitable.
Laketra just wanted to say, awesome presentation.
All right, thank you.
What would you say to people who feel like they don't know enough to start?
So I guess the question here is, do you not know enough about the industry that you want to get into, or just not about your passion? So if you're at that very first step that we talked about here on the presentation, if you don't know what your passion is, go through that exercise and try to figure it out. If you know what your passion is, but you don't know enough about being an entrepreneur, and you're kind of afraid to take that leap, say you've always wanted to be a website designer or always wanted to be a dance instructor, but you have a safe corporate job and you don't want to risk that, and you don't know what it's like to be an entrepreneur, that's where you do the part-time work. So if you're going to have a job, it might as well be something that can help contribute to your learning to be an entrepreneur. So try to go and find somebody who could use either a full-time or part-time person who's in the industry that you want to get into, and try to work with the entrepreneur as much as you can. Learn from their projects. Try to take on more than what you've just been assigned to do. Entrepreneurs are overworked. Now, if you ask any entrepreneur, if you're working for them and you go up and say, hey, is there anything else I can help with beyond my task? They're going to give you something. No entrepreneur is going to say, no, it's okay. We're good. We don't need any extra help. They're going to give you work. And that's great, because you want to learn more than just whatever skill set they hired you to do. You want to learn what it's like to run the business. So try to be with the entrepreneur as much as possible, and it'll teach you if you like that business or not. Do you want that lifestyle or not? Is that how you want to be an entrepreneur or not? And it'll also teach you about your skills as you develop to be an entrepreneur. So it'll help you become a better entrepreneur, and it'll also teach you if you want to be in that industry or not.
Cool. Daniel asks, and he says, how can you recommend any cheap CRM tools? And that's customer relationship management.
Yeah, thanks for the question, Daniel. We internally use, we've custom designed our own thing. If you need to go on the cheap, there's a lot of open source ones that you can go with. Sugar CRM is a great example that some of my entrepreneur friends have used. We don't have a really complex sales cycle, so everything that we do, we've kind of done custom coded ourselves, or even just using Excel in some cases. Again, you want to make sure, though, you need to go on the cheap. So some things you need to cheap out on, and some things sometimes you need to spend the money. So it depends on your sales cycle. If you have a lot of leads coming in and you really need to segment them and it's costing you business not having a better system in place, then it may be time to go out and spend the money and get something coming in. And that's typically how I'll look at investment decisions. I don't like spending money until I'm making money. Again, anybody can spend money, but not everybody can make money. So I'll bootstrap it and use really, cheap ways to do things until I think that, hey, there's an opportunity here, and I'm losing money by not investing more money into it. And when you get to that point, then you can go and spend on more, robust tools and systems to help you.
Good. Kim asks, I launched just over a year ago and I'm struggling with specializing versus marketing to the masses. My industry is virtual admin, providing admin, sales, and marketing, specializing to the mechanical industry. Also struggling with logo. But her main question is, again, what do I do? Go specific or mass market?
I would try to specialize, especially at the beginning. Really get to know your niche, get close to your customers, and build a solution that can really help them. So if you're a virtual assistant, you're in a really competitive market, and that's going to be for any business. Like if you look at any business you start up, there's going to be a lot of competitors, and if you're an average entrepreneur selling an average product at an average price, you're not going to get amazing results. So you have to go and find a specific niche that you can help out and be the best at what you do. So for example, when people hire me, my focus is entrepreneurs. That's what I know best, and people hire me to help them with their entrepreneur strategies. If you wanted my help with how to fix a car or anything else, I can't help you. And I say no to a lot of companies who come to me because they're not specific enough in what they need and how I can help them. So I would definitely focus on specializing. Find a way to go above and beyond, not just your usual virtual assistant skills and the tools that you can provide them, but show that you know what their business is about and how your specific skill set matches up to help them grow their business. A quick comment on the logo. If you need a logo design, one of my favorite websites to do it is called 99 Designs. It's number 9, and then designs, plural.com. And usually a logo you can get for about $200, and people from around the world will submit design ideas for you, and you can give them feedback, and they'll keep improving it until you get the one that you want. So I've had a number of entrepreneur friends, and I've done it too, who've had some success with it. So it's a quick note, and check out those guys.
Good. Yeah, logos are tough because, you can always change them and always improve them. It's an art and definitely not a science. So that's a tough one. So Patty asks, advice on how to use Twitter to listen for what people are talking about, interested in, and problems to solve.
I love this one. So I'm very active on Twitter now. We've got 100,000 plus followers. When I started, I thought, Twitter, this is ridiculous. Like people talking about their cats and what they ate for lunch, and I didn't see a really big business application. And then I put a search for my name in, and I found that people were talking about me. Luckily, it was all good. Nobody was saying, no, evancarmichael.com sucks. It was all good stuff. But I wasn't part of the conversation. And you want to hang out where your customers or your potential customers are. So my first step with Twitter was just listening to people who are talking about me and then recognizing my champions. But if somebody's mentioning you on Twitter, you want to thank them. So they're going to do it more often and tell their friends. Even if you're not a power Twitter user, they may be. And so it's an opportunity to have people talk about you more and more. In terms of listening, I'm not able to follow everybody as much as I would like. So 100,000 people is a hard market to be able to follow. But what I do is I ask people for questions. So people will write in with their questions of how to grow their business, if it's startup or more established companies, and I try to answer those questions either through Twitter if it can be short enough, or I'll do a quick YouTube video explaining it so that other people can benefit from it as well. Depending on what your market is, you can search for different hashtags. So if you're tracking a certain keyword that your business is about, you can search for that hashtag and get a feed that comes in every day, so you can respond to people who are talking about that and showcase yourself as an expert. Again, it's one of those things where you can burn your whole day on Twitter or any of the social media. You want to make sure that it's getting results for you. And again, as I started, it was really small, just testing it out, monitoring my name, and then slowly started working on it more as I figured out that, hey, there's a business case to be able to use it.
Good. What Jayaf Ali asks, what are the mistakes done by starting entrepreneurs in online business, especially in service models such as designing and online marketing?
Such as design and online, what was the last word?
Online marketing.
Online marketing. It's a good question. I think, first of all, a lot of people who start up online are not in the right business. They start up, some kind of affiliate marketing or network marketing, or somebody told them this is a great opportunity, but there's no passion for it. Right? Back to startup rule number one. A lot of it comes back to that first rule. If you're not super excited about it, you're not going to have any success with your marketing. What I found to be really helpful is try to make it personal. And when you can tell your own story and show your passion for it and show how you were able to go from A to B because of whatever product or service, then that really helps and other people will believe it. So if you're doing marketing, especially on the cheap, what I try to do is showcase yourself as an expert for whatever product or service you're trying to sell, to show that you have the knowledge, answer questions for people. It could be YouTube videos, those are great, I find, but if you're not comfortable in front of the camera, it could also be written posts. A lot of my stuff will come from my readers now, so people asking questions in my newsletter or forums or Twitter, and I'll create the responses. If you don't have a community yet, though, you're just starting up, go to communities where your customers are hanging out and answer questions for people. And you can write out. There was a question that I saw from John, and he's asking about XYZ, about related to your product or service, and answer it and try to do that on at least weekly basis, so you're always showing yourself to be kind of the expert and not just marketing buy, because you have to build that relationship first before they're going to want to come on and buy whatever you're selling.
Yeah. Elena asks, can we have a copy of the sample mentoring script?
Sure. What are we going to do with the video, Carl? We're going to send it to them?
Well, we're recording it right now, of course, and then we can upload it to a page on your website if you'd like, and then they can view it there. So if you want to, I guess you could put a link to that underneath the video.
Yes. Okay. So Carl is helping us with the recordings today. So and thank you, Carl, by the way, for spending the time today.
Sure.
So I'll get the video, and with the link, I'll also post the script so that you guys can copy and paste and don't have to pause and watch the video and write it out yourself. So yes, we will do that. Great idea. Thank you.
And what is the website address for hiring part-time staff?
Oh, it's Odesk. So O-D-E-S-K. Maybe we can load a... You guys can still see my screen, right?
Yes.
Let's load that up. Odesk.com. There you go.
Perfect. And that's for hiring part-time staff. Odesk.com.
Yeah, and this is great because you can see pictures of people, and maybe it's just me, but I like seeing the picture of the person. We try to hire, it may sound really stupid, but we try to hire nice people. So I like people who look like they're a nice person. And with Odesk, you can also see what skills they have, and they can pass tests. So if you need a programmer, for example, to design your website, and you don't know anything about programming, and you can't tell a good programmer from a bad programmer, they can take a test in PHP or another programming language, and you can see how well they scored versus everybody else. who've taken that test. You can see if they're actually good at what they do or not. So one of the benefits, but yeah, I'm a huge fan of Odesk.
And Sir Jorner said, "Great, thank you so much for answering my question." You're welcome. Pete asks, "How do you analyze competition in the marketplace?"
That's a good question. Typically what I'll do is I'll talk to my customers and I'll figure out what their pains are, and an opportunity for you is to replace a current supplier that they're not happy with. So it's really hard to start up a brand new product or service that nobody's heard of and pitch it, because there's no established market for it. It's not that it's not possible, it's just a lot harder. The easier way to go in is talk to customers who have existing suppliers who they may not be happy with. Not every company is going to be happy with every supplier that they have, and offer to do something better. And so, by that nature, you'll figure out who your competition is, who they're currently using. But I'll offer to do something better on a small scale. So just one tiny project, try us out for this tiny project, and then again, over-deliver like crazy, and when it comes up again, or there's other projects that come to you. So I don't really go by individual competitors. I'll go start talking to my customers and figure out what they're happy with and what they're not happy with. If all of my customers or potential customers are super happy with their supplier, then that might be a really hard market for me to crack into, and I might need to have a slightly different angle.
So Jorner says, "One more thing. Any books you would recommend for people just starting?"
Oh, that's a good question. I have a list on my website of my favorite books, and maybe we can include that with the link that comes out. I'll see if I can quickly find it for you. My favorite book of all time is The 4-Hour Workweek. A lot of you have probably read that, but I do have a list of my favorite books on my blog that also shows each book that I like and why I like it. So I'll try to get that link up. But if you can just go, actually just pop it in here. You go to evancarmichael.com/blog, and then about quotes, and then there's also one for books. So I'd go check out the books one and read that. But my favorite one of all time is still The 4-Hour Workweek.
Good. So we're a few minutes over. Do you have time for a few more questions?
Yeah, I do. I know we had
prizes.
I think that was my last slide.
Yeah,
Maybe we can talk about this and then keep going on the questions. So the prizes, we're going to do a half-hour free phone call with me, and then some packs of the cards. Do we have some random winners that you've picked? Okay.
Kim Stark won the 30 minutes half-hour phone call with you.
Okay, great.
Congratulations, Kim. So please email Evan your information, and then I guess he can send you a calendar of time slots to talk with him.
Yep. And
then the cards, which are physical cards, so they have to be mailed to you. So when you email Evan, make sure you put your address in there. LaKetra Calloway, Sojourner McBride, and Patty Franson.
Great. Okay. So, congrats everybody. My email is here on the website on the PowerPoint. So it's just evan@evancarmichael.com. So just send me your details, and we'll figure out how to get everything over to you. I'll stick around for another 10 minutes to answer the questions. I just wanted to thank everybody for everybody who may not be sticking around. It was a great first trial, I thought. We're going to do another one. We haven't figured out the time. We're looking at maybe the second week of August, which will cover the second set of the rules. So we have 12 rules for setup success. We did the first 6 today. We're going to do the next 6 hopefully in August, and we will keep you posted as to what happens and when we launch it. So thank you, and I'll stick around for a couple more questions, Carl, if you want to lead the way.
Yes. Did you have a business plan when you started?
Yes, we had not a fully structured business plan. When you create a business plan, there's 2 purposes. One is for your own growth, and the other one is for investors. And so it depends what your goal is. Writing a business plan for investors will be different than what you do for yourself. For your own business plan, it's helpful because you're going through researching, what the market's like, and a lot of that will come out from your internet research and your bookstore library research, as an example. But the day you finish your business plan, it's expired, right? Because you're going to actually start creating your product or service, and you're going to realize that some of the assumptions you made were wrong, and you're going to find new opportunities to be able to grow and promote your business. So you have to constantly update your business plan. So we created our first kind of full business plan when we first started, and then every quarter we sat down and looked at our goals and saw how we were doing and kept updating it. So you don't want to just create the business plan and let it die. Every quarter, we didn't do a full plan again. We just did an overview and said, are we still on track? Is this still where we want to go? What changes should we make? So it's definitely helpful at the start to help you plan. You definitely need, if you're going to go after investors or lenders like banks or angel investors or venture capitalists. But don't forget your business plan, because you got to keep coming back to it. We did it on a quarterly basis, but you want to keep coming back to it to make sure that you're still on track and able to grow your company.
Yeah. And Pete, in reference to your answer about analyzing competition, he says he didn't really say what marketplace he was in, but is a marketplace for my startup flooded already? And real quick, I have something to say on that, but there's so many people doing the same thing out on the internet, but the idea is they find their niche and they make sure that they're doing it in a way that, like you talked about earlier, finding out what these customers need and how to help them. And I think that's the key. I don't know. Do you want to talk a little bit about that too?
Sure. Any business that you start, there's going to be lots of competition, right? If there isn't competition, then there's probably no market for what you're doing. So competition is not necessarily a bad thing, especially the easier it is to start up a business, like online businesses where there aren't a lot of startup costs, the more competition you're going to have. The problem is most people do it very poorly. And that's an opportunity for you. A lot of people jump in, again, just for the opportunity because they think they're going to make a quick buck and don't really pour their heart into it. So that's definitely opportunity number one. And number two is going after a specific market and something that you can speak to, right? For me, for example, I'm an entrepreneur. I live and breathe entrepreneurship. I love it. I love hanging out with entrepreneurs. I love answering questions with entrepreneurs. I can help with a lot of the general questions that you have on growing your business and marketing. I don't know the specifics of every business. Like I couldn't go into a carpenter's office and tell them the 10 things that he's doing wrong because I don't have experience as a carpenter, and that wouldn't necessarily excite me. So you want to focus in on markets that you do understand from experience of your own, and whatever product or service that you're doing, have a twist to it to target those kinds of people. And if you let your kind of passion flow through on that, you're going to have a much greater chance of achieving success.
Yeah. Here's a long one, and it's about 8 after now. Let's see if I can kind of pare this down a little bit. I guess the idea is, Laura asked, she's spent time researching. She's like, I'm not sure exactly what I'm asking, but she can't handle all the requests, and they don't align with her passion. And what do you do then when your business starts to go in a different direction that you want it to go in?
So one thing that you may be able to do is partner with people. And that's something that we've done a lot on the site. If it's something that still is part of your bigger picture, then if you don't have the skill sets, you can either hire somebody or you can partner with somebody to do it. So an example, creating these webinars is a great example. It's an opportunity, for me, I want to help entrepreneurs. Does this help entrepreneurs? Yes. Am I the expert in webinars? No. So what did? We partnered with Carl, who's an expert in webinars. He has his own business, Party Biz Connect, which does a lot of webinars and Twitter parties for entrepreneurs. So that's a great partnership. For you, if it is still in line with what you want to do for the bigger picture, but you don't have the skill sets, it's taking you too far off your path, then you may be able to find somebody who is more of an expert in that and loves doing that, and partner up with them. If it's something that it does not align with your bigger picture, then that's something that you can either sell to somebody or try to guide your clients in a slightly different way. A quick example from my perspective, I said we work with some corporate clients. A lot of them want to hire me to pitch their product. Go buy Dell computers because it's the best computer ever. I don't enjoy pitching products, and I don't think it's the best way to be able to market your business. And so none of the stuff that I do goes out and says, you need to go buy this product. And when I do talk to those clients, I could make money doing it. It could be a very lucrative business, but it doesn't align with what I want to do. So I'll try to push them towards a model that I believe in and that I've had a lot of success with. And if they say no, then they say no, and I move on and I find other clients. And it can be hard to walk away from projects, especially at the start when you're starving and you need to figure out how you're going to make some money. But if you spend all your time on these projects that are not helping you grow your longer-term business, then you're not ever going to have the time that you need to be able to focus on your energies on your business.
Yeah. And it's funny, that logo question struck home with me because I recently rebranded, and I don't know, I don't think I told you, Evan, but from PartyBiz Connect to DominoConnection.com.
Oh, okay. DominoConnection.com, excuse me.
No, I don't think you even knew. So I actually just made the switch yesterday on the website, and it's a scary thing to make such a big thing. And we actually talked about why you used your name, EvanCarmichael.com, and how glad you are because you didn't have to switch anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, congrats on the rebrand.
Yes, thank you. So
maybe one more question.
Yes. How do you charge clients based on your experience and expertise in a saturated market? By Frank.
So typically what I like to do is go in at a competitive price. So depending on what it is that you're selling, I try not to, I don't want to be known as the discount guy. So, and you shouldn't either, because selling something at the cheapest price possible is not a long-term path to success. But you have to go in, especially to begin a relationship, I believe at least, to go in at a competitive price. So see what your competitors are charging. If you're bidding on something, or if you're selling a consumer product, you can see kind of what everybody else is selling. And especially when you're going into business, you go in at a price that other people would also be charging. And my goal at the beginning is just to do one small project. So like that example where I was paid $500 to create a piece of content and put it up on their site. That was my only goal to start. Like let's get one thing up, but then I'm going to over-deliver like crazy, right? I'm going to win their loyalty and trust, and then when they want to come back and do more business, then you're able to increase your pricing because you're providing a lot more value, and they understand that. A lot of customers at the beginning, if you come in with a really expensive pitch, if they've never heard of you, you don't have a lot of experience because you're a startup, then it's hard to justify charging that big price point because they don't know if it's going to work or not. Now I can go in and charge higher prices because we have success and we know that it can work. But I still try to go in with one little project. Just give us one little bit of a project and let us show you what we can do. And it's low risk for them, easy way to get started, and then you're able to hopefully build and grow a big business as a result.
Yes.
Maybe one more before we go. I'm excited. I've got a minute. I have a call. I have a meeting at 3:30, so it's coming up, but quick.
Okay. It's very hard to work from home being an online entrepreneur with family and other stuff. Share one tip to achieve work-life balance by Shireen.
Yeah, that's an awesome question. I personally love having an office to go to. I'm in the office about 20 hours a week, but I love going to an office because it helps separate. It's so easy to get distracted at home. People are bugging you, and you also feel guilty, right? Like if you have kids, and I have a 3-year-old, and if he comes and knocks on the door and you're working and you say I need to work, you're not going to be productive because now you're worried that you're a bad parent and you've turned this child away. So I like having a different space. But if you are working from home, what I would try to do is set up hours, specific times. Say, okay, here's where I'm going to be working on my business. And oh, my thing is popping up. See, I didn't lie. I have a coffee. So yeah, try to have a specific time that you can, focus only on your business and work with your family to let them know. Ideally, it can be a time when people are at school, your kids are at school, your husband or wife may be at work, so you have some focused time. It may also help to get out and go to a Starbucks or a coffee shop or a bookstore and do some work. I find when I'm doing creative stuff, sometimes I'll leave the office and go to a coffee shop just to get that atmosphere and not be stuck at home all day. That can be sucky if you're an entrepreneur. You're always at home. It's nice to go out. And one thing that I found really helpful is we started a mastermind group here in Toronto, and it's a group of entrepreneurs, and we meet once a month to talk about our businesses. And it's kind of like Entrepreneurs Anonymous. We share our challenges and try to help each other out. And just meeting with other entrepreneurs and hearing what they're up to gives you the motivation to keep going. And you realize, other people are struggling with these same issues that I am, and I'm not alone. And that's a big challenge if you don't have, if nobody in your family is an entrepreneur, they don't really get what you're doing. It can be helpful to connect with other entrepreneurs or join webinars like this. Try to find local business meetings that you can join in on. Some people are a lot more, they need a lot more of that than others, so make it fit your personality. Some people, they go once a month somewhere, that's enough of a battery boost to keep them going, and others need it more often. So I find that really helps. And then also try to set limits. So for me, when I'm at the office, I'm working on work, and when I'm at home, I'm at home and I'm with my family. And if I get an idea for work, I'll email myself so then I have a safe copy, but I'm not going to go work on it. And that distinction is really helpful, because even though I don't work that much, if I'm only in the office for 5 hours, it's a super productive 5 hours, instead of most people may have a 8 or 9 hour day, which isn't productive because they're always being distracted. So setting up those limits I found really helps. I'm starting to lose my voice, so it's been a good call when I get a pause and drink some water. But
we can't even get to all the questions. They're still pouring in, and we're so sorry.
I'll say this. If anybody has a question that they want to get answered, I'll do a YouTube video for them if they want. My email is evan@evancarmichael.com, and I guess we'll find out a way how to email you the slides and the script. If there's a question that you really want answered, I'll do a YouTube video reply, and hopefully that can help you as well. But this has been awesome. Carl and I talked about this, I guess, a couple months ago, and thought, hey, let's try it out. And I've had a lot of fun, and hopefully you guys have enjoyed too, and hopefully we can do some more.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, I guess you got to go, Evan, and I do too. Thank you, everybody. You guys were fantastic, and Evan, great material, and I look forward to the next 6 steps.
Great. Thanks, guys. We'll see you soon.
All right, everybody. Have a good day.